Yo, what's good guys? Welcome back. Sorry for being late on this video, but here I am, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. First of all, I started sending out an early preview version of the demo to some people to get some playtesting going on, some early feedback, and that has led to some quality of life improvements. For example, I have added the ability to skip the opening title screen, although personally I think you should watch it every single time. Skipping the dialogue will now show the complete line instead of immediately jumping to the next one, so that you have a chance to read through things faster if you'd like. And we also have some new tables. The ones we had before were a little flat looking, and so we replaced them with these ones that have a little more depth to them. One thing that I was always having a little trouble with during development was dealing with how to open the doors. This is just because I found that sometimes you might accidentally go through a door before you're ready to do so, because a fight ends and you accidentally click the dash button and you go right through it. So I was always struggling to find a balance between making it easy to go through doors without causing you to accidentally go through them. I think I finally got that down pat after I got some feedback from Amanda. Speaking of which, Amanda is our artist in case you're not aware, and she gave the following feedback after her playtesting of the game. She says, and I quote, "Game is so sick, it's so awesome to see it all together. It has come so far from the beginning. I was trying to look at everything art-wise, but the gameplay reeled me in within seconds. I love the fast pace and how brutal it is. Speedrunners are going to enjoy this for sure. Everything looks and feels smooth. I really think this game's going to do well. The gameplay, music, and style is so fresh, super addicting, gave me a good adrenaline rush." So there you go, folks. Some more feedback that this game is indeed sick. And on the topic of Amanda being our artist, we have also finished the design for the final boss in the game, the last samurai boss of Act 3, Wenya. The design for Wenya was inspired by classic martial arts movies. She carries a double-ended spear, one side of which actually fires out as a projectile attached by a chain, which she can then retract back towards herself. She has a significant history with our main boy Genyu, and she's all about religious piety, martyrdom, and discipline. And being a more religiously themed character, that naturally brings us to some of our early rough work for the design of Act 3's environment. Act 3's environment is going to be based on a mountaintop, ancient temple type of setting, and I wanted to completely subvert the original designs of the first two acts, where normally you start off outside and you go into a building, and then maybe there's occasionally a room that's outdoors. But this time around for Act 3, we're going to start inside of a temple indoors, and then you go into an outdoor area which makes up most of the level, which will then be broken up occasionally by an indoor room. So most of it will be based on an outdoor environment, and we're going to try to do a lot of gardens and vines and stone walls and things like that for that cool ancient temple type of feel. And since the narrative script for the demo has been completed and implemented into the game, I've started working on the voiceover work with David Cook, who's going to be playing the role of Jones.
My apologies, gentlemen. How may I help you? You looking for a barber?
It's already been an interesting experience doing voice acting direction for the first time in my life. It's kind of fun, I'm enjoying it, and I think we're on a good track for nailing down the tone of Jones's character. And finally, the moment you've all been waiting for, an update on the music. Now, this is still very much a work in progress. I didn't have enough time to actually complete the track, but I've started working on it and I'm already very happy with it, so I wanted to give you guys a preview of it. So I'm going to show you guys a few different tracks that I've got going on, one of which is the one I've already posted before. There's a second track that I also posted a long time ago, but I didn't think I was actually going to use it because I kind of just put it together quickly and was messing around just to test how I wanted to do the music for the game. But I found the project for it and I was listening again, and I actually really like it. I thought I did a great job with it, so it needs a remix and remastering and stuff like that, but I overall like this song, so I think I'm going to use it again. And then of course there is the brand new track that I just worked on this week that I think thoroughly kicks ass, so check it out. pretty sick, and this week I'm just gonna continue working on that track as well as the other one, hopefully get started on a 4th track, maybe even. But yeah, and other than that, I'm just gonna keep working with David to complete the lines for Jones, and soon after that I'll have to record all of my own lines since I'm going to be playing the role of Genyu, so I'm looking forward to that acting challenge. Now I wanted to share with you guys this week my all-time favorite joke. It's a psychology joke. I first heard it from a college professor way back in my first year of college when I was taking a Psych 101 course. We were covering the topic of positive and negative reinforcement, and specifically we were learning about how studies show that positive reinforcement is much more effective for changing people's behavior than negative reinforcement. So what that means is rewarding someone for behavior that you like is much more likely to change their behavior rather than trying to punish someone for behaviors that you don't like. And in fact, the only time negative reinforcement works is under certain very specific conditions. So after lecturing about that, the professor went on to tell us the following joke. There was a mother with 2 young boys, and she was having a problem with her boys constantly swearing. Specifically, every morning at the breakfast table, the kids would turn to her and say, "Hey mom, can you pass me the fucking Cheerios?" And this mom tried everything she could think of to get these boys to stop swearing, and nothing was working. So finally, at her wit's end, she decides to go and see a psychologist to see if he might have something to tell her to help her out with this. And so she visits the psychologist and she tells him, you know, I've been trying everything I can to get these boys to stop swearing, but nothing's working. So the psychologist says, okay, look, if you've tried everything else, as a last resort, you can try physical punishment. However, the psychologist warns her, in order for physical punishment to be effective, you have to follow 2 rules. Number 1, you have to make sure that when you hit them really hard, because you need to make sure that the association between the pain and their behavior is very strong. And number 2, you have to make sure that when you hit them, it is immediately after they were doing the swearing, because again, you have to make sure that they build the right association between the pain and the swearing. And so the mother thanks the psychologist profusely. Finally, maybe she has a way to get these boys to stop swearing. She leaves the office, she heads home. She wakes up first thing the next morning and she is all pumped up. She's just ready to pounce on these boys and finally teach them a lesson, get them to stop swearing. So she's waiting in the kitchen and the 2 boys come in and they sit down, and sure enough, she's just primed and waiting, and one of them looks at her and says, "Hey mom, can you pass me the fucking Cheerios?" And the mother turns around and just smacks the boy across the face. He goes flying out of his chair across the floor. The other boy's looking over in shock, and the mother, just beaming with pride, turns to the other boy and says, "And what would you like to have for breakfast?" And the boy looks at her and goes, "Well, I sure as shit don't want Cheerios." Now, I don't know why that's my favorite joke. I think there's just something really funny to me about the idea of a mom beating the shit out of her kid because he asked for Cheerios. But in any case, it's a good one. It's real clever. And in fact, I remember many years ago, I used it on a date with a girl, and it took her a good minute or so to to understand what the punchline was. But when she got it, she really enjoyed it. She had a nice, good laugh. So, got me in there, you know what I mean? So there you go, fellas. I'm not just here telling you about an awesome game I'm making. I'm giving you some dating tips here, alright? You meet a girl out there, you go on a date, she's into psychology, try that joke out on her. Might get you somewhere. And speaking of jokes, who likes Amy Schumer? I have nothing against her personally. I don't mean to make fun of her. I just mean, honestly, who actually likes her? Because I feel like every single time I read about this woman, people are always complaining about how terrible she is, how unfunny she is, how she steals jokes and whatever. But she's constantly in new movies, and she always has some new comedy special coming out on Netflix or wherever, so who is it? Who is it that actually likes her? I don't get it. Is it you? It's okay, man. We all have our guilty pleasures. Maybe you like Amy Schumer. She makes jokes about vaginas, you like vaginas, there's nothing wrong with that. And the last thing I wanted to share with you guys is I got a phone call recently, and like 99% of all phone calls I receive, I didn't pick up. But I saw that I had a message on my answering machine, so I went to check it, expecting to hear the usual Chinese phone scams that I get. And instead, you can imagine my pleasant surprise when I heard Pierre Poilievre's voice on the other line. Now, for those of you not familiar with Canadian politics, which I don't know why you wouldn't be, Pierre Poilievre is the leader of the Conservative Party in Canada, pretty likely to be the next Prime Minister of Canada. Elections will be coming up soon. And the reason why I found this so funny is because longtime viewers of my show may recall that I once made a video where I did this.
Hello, everyone. Pierre Poilievre here. You know, this guy, Justin Trudeau, he says he's pro-LGBTQIA2S+. But I'm still waiting on him to gargle my
Hey guys, go ahead and drop a post down in the comment section and let me know what you think. Which one's better, ballsack or scrotum?
ball sack. And like almost any other Canadian, I've gargled at least a couple dozen in my lifetime. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at what I worked on this week. That was a little weird. A little Pierre coming through there for a second. Not sure what that was all about. What am I doing in this body? What am I making video games here? What kind of a fucking loser? Get the fuck out of my head, dude.
And here's a short clip of actual Pierre Poilievre in case you want to see how awesome my impression of him is.
That's life.
Right.
There's going to be a lot of
Ball sack.
Longtime viewers of my show may also recall the title of that video, from which you might infer something about my opinion on Canadian politics. So Pierre, don't ever call me again, you little bitch. Well, that's it for this week, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you'll join me here again next week. Peace.